January 27, 1945, Soviet forces liberated Nazi concentration camps Auschwitz and Birkenau. Soldiers found around 7,000 men, women, and children suffering from malnutrition and many other ailments. Thousands others had been killed outright or forced into death marches in the days leading up to the camp's liberation. All told, it's estimated nearly 1.5 million prisoners, the majority of them Jewish, were sent to Auschwitz between 1940 and 45. Of this number, at least 1 million were murdered there, and millions more died at other camps. The United Nations designated January 27th as International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and this year, the Holocaust Center for Humanity in Seattle is taking a unique approach to remember two groups of very, very brave soldiers from different backgrounds united in a common goal. To share more, please welcome Holocaust Center for Humanity's Executive Director Dee Simon and former soldier Henry Butler, plus in our audience, documentary filmmaker Lucy Ostrander. Thank you all for being here. So much to say, and on TV, so little time for this. But Dee, tell me about the collaborative work that's going on at the Museum of Flight this year and why it's so important.
Yeah, this year, the Holocaust Center for Humanity uses the Holocaust as a lens by which we look at current day events and teach about how to look at today's world in a different way. And so we chose this particular way, this particular approach this year. What we're doing is we're highlighting the story that it's America's diversity, our cultural, our language, our religion, our ethnicity, all this diversity is really what made America strong then and is really what makes America strong today.
Amen.
And so we are telling the story of German, Jewish, American boys, men, soldiers who fought for the U.S. We're highlighting Nisei Japanese-American soldiers who also fought for the U.S. And both groups used their language skills to fight and actually help the Allied forces win the war.
It's amazing stuff, and we don't know nearly enough about them. Henry is actually one of the Ritchie boys. You fled Nazi Germany with your family.
Well, actually, not with my family. I went alone.
You went alone?
Yes, because at that time, the quota for people from Germany in America was 25,000 a year. And prior to 1938, that was never filled. But in 1938, many more applied. And the American government decided to issue numbers. And my parents had a much later number than I did.
How old were you when
I was
you got
16.
here? You were 16.
Right.
You were eventually drafted.
I was drafted, yeah.
How old were you then?
In 1943, I was 22, yeah.
So
yeah.
They take you to the Ritchie camp to be trained.
Well, that was not immediately. I was inducted at Fort Dix, New Jersey, had basic training in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And then I was at the Army Specialized Training Program at Johns Hopkins University for 6 months. And then I was at Camp Ritchie and was from January 1944 until I left in 45 for Europe.
How do you get yourself prepared for, after leaving Germany under those circumstances, being trained to return to Germany for the fight?
Well, actually, we were very excited about this. Nazi Germany was very bad. We wanted to defeat it.
Yes,
so,
can we all agree in this modern era that Nazis not good? Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry. Because there seems to be some doubt in some
so
quarters.
I don't think there was ever any question about it. And there in the Camp Ritchie, approximately 2,000 of German Jews were learning how to interrogate German prisoners. We learned about the makeup of the German army, and so we knew what to ask, and had very interesting interviews or interrogations.
Oh, bet you did. The courage.
And my style was I made the German prisoner very comfortable because you didn't get much information if you were not. And so I made him sit down, gave him a cigarette, and then we talked. Because they were only supposed to tell what their name is and their rank, and that's it. But we wanted to get more information.
And you did. And you are, not only do we thank you for your service, but for your heroism at such an important time. Let's talk just for a moment to Lucy about your film and the Nisei soldiers.
My film is called Proof of Loyalty, Kazuo Yamane and the Nisei Soldiers of Hawaii. And Kazuo Yamane was a Japanese American who grew up in Hawaii, had spent 5 years studying studying in Japan between 1935 and 1940. He was at the university at Waseda, which was considered the Harvard of Japan. He became fluent in Japanese, returned to Hawaii on the second to the last ship before Pearl Harbor was attacked, and was drafted into the U.S. Army. The Army sent all the Japanese American soldiers out to guard the beaches until June of '42, during the Battle of Midway. They recalled all the Japanese American soldiers and they took away their weapons. They put them on a ship and they did not tell them where they were going. Many of them had thought they were being taken to the mainland to be incarcerated. They were not allowed to tell their families they were leaving. They ended up in Oakland, and when they arrived in Oakland, the Army designated them as the 100th Infantry Battalion.
Wow.
And this became the precursor to the famed 442nd Regimental Combat Team, which is the most highly decorated combat team during World War II.
It's an amazing film. Both of these stories so important to understanding our history, and as you mentioned so importantly, the applications for today, and not to forget the things that happened just a few decades ago and mean so much to all of us in this current environment. The Holocaust Center for Humanities event takes place Saturday, January 27th at the Museum of Flight. The event is free and open to the public. I hope you will go and take your family. You can catch screenings of the full documentary Proof of Loyalty on February 17th at the Everett Film Festival, and then again on February 23rd at the Seattle Asian American Film Festival. Full details are on our website for you. I know it's a lot of information, but it'll be there for you to check later. We'll be right back.